Colorado's brief moment in the national spotlight at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago as Governor Jared Polis speaks on a night highlighting LGBTQ rights.
They want to take us backwards, but we aren't going back.
The stakes for Colorado's economy if Kamala Harris is elected, from her plan to fight price gouging on groceries to giving first-time homebuyers a $25,000 boost. Our next conversation with three powerful women in Colorado politics who backed Kamala Harris before it was popular, their views on her strengths and whether she'll be hurt by changing positions on key issues.
This country has evolved, the issues have evolved, and quite frankly, I think about the forward and not back.
And as kids go back to school together, we'll fund classroom projects that teachers might otherwise pay for out of pocket. Because you don't just watch, because this is next, live from the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Like clockwork, every 8 years, Jared Polis gives a speech at a Democratic National Convention, first in Denver in 2008, then Charlotte in 2016, and tonight at the 2024 DNC in Chicago. Within the last half hour, Colorado's governor took to the stage, spoke briefly. He's the only Coloradan that we know is going to speak for certain this week. Polis drew the desirable or undesirable duty, depending on how you look at it, to give the nightly speech with the Democrats' oversized prop copy of Project 2025, the Republican governing blueprint. Democrats are trying to tie Donald Trump to that ultra-conservative wish list put together by many of his advisors and allies. So each night, a DNC speaker has dissected part of the document while holding up the big prop. Tonight, Polis criticized Project 2025's stance on abortion. It calls for withdrawing the common abortion pill mifepristone from the market and mail, and it says that the federal government should, quote, maintain a biblically based social science reinforced definition of marriage and family. Polis, of course, is the first openly gay man to be elected governor in the U.S. He got his biggest applause line of the night for mentioning that he's a Taylor Swift fan, and he closed his speech with a T-Swift reference.
Democrats welcome weird, but we're not weirdos telling families who can and can't have kids who to marry or how to live our lives. These Project 2025 people, like Trump and Vance, are not just weird, they're dangerous. They want to take us backwards, but we aren't going back, like ever, ever, ever.
So, pretty standard Jared Polis stuff, right, as we've heard him do in the past. He spoke fairly early in the evening, and it can be tough for those speakers to capture the crowd's attention unless they are really captivating. Wouldn't say that Jared Polis silenced the crowd, but they certainly didn't talk over him as much as they have some other speakers tonight. Later in the evening, former President Bill Clinton and House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi will speak ahead of the Democrats' vice presidential nominee, Tim Walz. Tomorrow night is for Kamala Harris, and she's been slowly releasing bits about her own campaign agenda and where it might differ from the Biden-Harris administration's agenda. She has put out details on her economic plan. So, just as we did every night through our daily coverage of the RNC, each night this week we are looking at one specific area and how her policies would impact Coloradans. This is Decision 2024, the stakes for Colorado, and tonight our Mark Salinger looks at Kamala Harris's economic plan.
In a state that keeps getting more expensive to live in, Kamala Harris promises to make everything from groceries, housing, and having children more affordable. Whether her policies will actually do that is up for debate.
And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food.
Harris touted her first economic policy proposal of her campaign just last week. While the plan is short on specifics, the campaign says the ban on price gouging in the grocery industry would help bring down food prices.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult in the current retail environment to try to implement any sort of price controls.
Jack Buffington is the program director of supply chain management at the University of Denver. While several states already have price gouging laws, critics warn more attempts to cap food prices could lead to a lack of supply. It comes at a time when the future of Colorado's largest grocery stores is also in question. If the proposed merger between Kroger and Albertsons goes through, competition for food prices could also be lessened.
If there even is a possibility to achieve price controls, it could impact supply, which perpetuates the cycle of availability, which increases prices in the long run.
If there's one industry people in Colorado know is expensive, it's real estate. Harris has proposed a $25,000 credit for first-time homebuyers.
Well, this could potentially be a game changer for a buyer that has essentially been sidelined for the last year or so. 9
News real estate expert Lane Lyon says more money in buyers' pockets is always good, but it could also raise home prices everywhere if people have more cash to spend. The plan would also focus on building more affordable housing.
It's just a matter of how it's going to be delivered. Is it going to be a credit? Is it going to be an incentive? Is it some type of cash flow at the beginning? Those are questions that we still don't know, and it will make a difference on what these transactions look like.
Frankly speaking, there's some political appeal to what she said, but I think it's economically illiterate.
As with most things in politics, whether a plan is good or bad depends on who you ask. Jake Fogelman with the Libertarian Independence Institute says Harris's plans will increase prices at the grocery store and in the housing market.
It's economics 101. Price controls result in shortages, and I don't think consumers are going to be happier by not having the products they want than by paying a little bit more for them.
I do think Colorado would be a better place if her policies were enacted.
Andrea Kuick with the liberal Bell Policy Center argues Harris's policies would make Colorado more affordable for everyone, especially those who need the most help.
So anything that can really tamp down those prices can have a really big impact.
One thing both candidates agree on: ending taxes on tips.
We are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
After Trump floated the idea, Harris endorsed it soon after. Vice President Harris has also proposed giving parents of newborn children a $6,000 tax credit. So while the tax credits could help children out of poverty and give families struggling to support their kids a much-needed boost, it would likely come with a hefty price tag. J.D. Vance on the Republican side, of course, has also proposed a $5,000 tax credit that Republicans would bring forward. Kyle?
Marcus, we've talked about throughout the week one reason that we are applying a special scrutiny to the proposals that are coming out of the Harris camp is because of this very unique situation where she's accepted her party's nomination before she comes out and says, here are the specific things that I'm going to do.
Yeah, the economy is one of the few topics that we actually have some policy behind what she's talking about, though there's still very little specifics on what those policies would actually look like. We're trying to dissect them, and hopefully, Kyle, we learn more tomorrow when she gives that big DNC speech accepting the nomination in Chicago.
I think that we're going to see, hopefully, a lot of those policies and proposals fleshed out in the coming weeks. Mark Salinger, thank you very much. You can see all of our Decision 2024, the Stakes for Colorado reporting on 9news.com in the next section. There, you'll also find the 5 in-depth reports that we did on Donald Trump's policies during the Republican National Convention.
Hi there, I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Kathy Sabin, tracking showers about to move into the metro area, coming off of the foothills and hopefully across Lookout Mountain to help firefighters in their efforts there. Temperatures today in the low 90s. Those numbers are starting to come down with the cloud cover and the rain. The winds have begun to pick up over the Front Range foothills and higher terrain. Some of the thunderstorms that we're tracking do have lightning, so we're watching that very closely. Some storms created some flash flooding around Carbondale and Pitkin County, and also the Cattle Creek area in Garfield County. Small hail reported in the northern mountains and up around the Steamboat Springs area. And these showers are moving southwest toward the northeast into an area where we have just a slight risk for severe thunderstorms today. Tomorrow, that risk will shift further to the east. The storms will move through and maintain their integrity and strength late into the night. We get a little bit of a break, and then we get a cooler day tomorrow with another round of rain showers. And so temperatures will continue in the 70s between about 8 o'clock and midnight. And we do have highs in the mid-80s tomorrow and Friday with a chance of rain from storms, and then a warming and drying trend right into the weekend when the Broncos take the field on Sunday afternoon.
Colorado's kids are back in school, which means that Colorado's teachers are working hard to make this year special and productive for them. And we know that that too often means that those teachers are paying out of pocket for special projects to supplement the needs of their classrooms. Now, the good news is we can do something about that. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports the A to Z Fund as it helps Denver's school classrooms. That project from the nonprofit DPS Foundation offers classroom grants for teachers up to $3,000 to cover materials, resources, opportunities that would otherwise be out of reach because of budgets. And they aim to fund as many of these worthwhile projects that DPS teachers can dream up each year to give their kids memorable educational experiences. They try to spread the love all around the district. Each school or department can apply once a semester. And a great thing is they get these grants out the door fast during the school year, like 3 weeks after teachers apply for them. But there's always more wonderful ideas than there is funding. So here we go. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to support the A to Z Fund and to give kids in DPS classrooms some new educational experiences. You have proven through your $13 million in Word of Thanks microgiving that even $5 adds up quickly, so as always, I will match the first 50 folks in the door with $5 tonight. And more than 3,000 of you have signed up to simplify your monthly giving by donating to the Word of Thanks Fund. And what that has meant is that we have started every weekly campaign lately with more than $22,000 in donations. Scan that same QR code or text to get there.
We have seen every woman who has ever run for higher office be judged by the work that they did working for a man in that higher office.
Prominent Colorado Democrats who backed Kamala Harris years before the rest of their party say their support has not wavered, even if some of Harris's positions have. And a new type of co-responder, meeting victims of domestic violence where they're at. That's next. 5 years and 21 days ago, Kamala Harris stood before a cheering crowd at Manual High School in Denver. A bit smaller than what she's going to see here at the DNC in Chicago tomorrow night. Harris was fresh off the second debate in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary, had a lot of momentum, but within 4 months her campaign had fizzled and it was over. Yet some of the key women in Colorado behind that first campaign say that they see that campaign, now this one, as steps in a long journey.
August 2nd, 2019, Manual High School, right? You all were there.
On day one, we're going to repeal that tax bill that benefits the top 1%.
It was so amazing to see this phenomenal woman standing in Manual High School in the heart of my district, you know, speaking to a diverse crowd of folks, but specifically young people, you know.
I did have my daughters with me. My parents were there. My grandmother was there.
It was amazing to see her there and just to have that kind of electricity happening everywhere. It was spectacular.
What did you see in Kamala Harris then that you hope that Americans see now?
I don't use the word young, but as a young black woman, as a young biracial woman, that was spectacular to me to see somebody that accomplished step up and say, we're going all the way with this.
And I gotta say, there has been a shift in the way that the campaign was last time and this time, in that she almost kind of stripped down from that I have to be someone else, or I have to mimic this male white leadership style in order to be accepted. And it's not about necessarily code switching, right? It's just about you are told you show up in a room like this and you've been told this way for all of your life. And now she's showing up with so much authenticity, it has translated into joy.
She has set aside or abandoned a lot of the progressive positions that she had in 2019, 2020 when you support her. Medicaid for all, fracking ban, mandatory buyback for assault weapons, no longer supports decriminalizing border crossings. What do you make of those shifts? Do any of them bother you?
I mean, I'm still seeing her being, you know, very progressive. I mean, when we talk about her fighting for working families, we see unions standing beside her, and, you know, the mantra, right, when we fight, we win, like that is labor, that is our working families. And so I don't necessarily see her backing down from those types of values.
Her policies and what she stands for has evolved because she is someone who learns and grows and evolves, right? And listens.
And has seen a much larger picture, a worldwide picture, which I would hope that you would evolve, right?
Yeah.
Because we have seen every woman who has ever run for higher office be judged by the work that they did working for a man in that higher office. Because we've never seen a Clinton administration. We've never seen a Harris administration. We've never seen a Shirley Chisholm administration. So we don't even know what a woman is going to do in this position.
And back to your first point, all the little girls that were there on that first, you know, at that event at Manual, you know, the honest truth about why so many of us do this work, right, is because, or what keeps us doing the work, is that we're inspired every day by these little girls that like you can see it when it clicks in their mind and it sparkles through their eyes about, wow, I could do that. Women can do that.
Not even little girls, 22-year-old girls
That's
or
true.
women, 23-year-old women.
30-year-old, 40-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
saying like,
exactly.
wow, this is where I can be, you know? And the sky's the limit, you know? And my favorite quote from her that she told me was, she said, when you break glass ceilings, you get cut.
Yep.
Break them anyways.
Break them anyway.
Our thanks to Democratic State Representative Leslie Herod of Denver, Denver City Councilwoman Serena Gonzalez Gutierrez, and CU Regent Wanda James.
Oftentimes survivors feel so alone. They question if people will believe them.
For survivors of domestic violence, reaching out for help can be hard, so a new police partnership takes the help directly to them first. That's next. .911 callers in Fort Collins sometimes get routed to a very different type of first responder, a domestic violence resource center employee who is ready to provide that specialized help before a survivor even asks for it. Our Kelly Rinke has that.
A call for help triggers a response from police. In Fort Collins, a shelter who helps victims of domestic violence is also on call.
Going out, sometimes at 2 a.m. to their house. If the survivor's headed to the ER for some medical care, we've gone to the hospital.
Crossroads Safe House gets dispatched to immediately connect with a survivor of domestic violence.
So we're going out on the scene after law enforcement has investigated that case. Oftentimes they're making an arrest.
Program manager Stacy Sutter says their team called DART is an effective tool to make sure survivors get the support they need. Crossroads responds to their front door instead of waiting for a survivor to call them.
Oftentimes survivors feel so alone. They question if people will believe them.
Their DART team responded to more than 350 domestic violence calls in 2023. Crossroads expects to handle even more cases this year.
It's always so hard to look at the number of people that are calling, the number of just the prevalence of domestic violence.
They know something bad has happened when that 911 call comes in. But Sutter finds comfort in knowing Crossroads is connecting with people when they need it most.
That's 400 people that we were able to support, that we were able to help.
Crossroads offers a variety of services like housing and crisis intervention. A legal team also helps clients navigate a sometimes very complicated court system. Crossroads is finding early intervention is helping survivors in the long term. Kyle.
Kelly, thank you. Feedback from a Republican viewer when we return to the DNC next. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign is offering grants to teachers in Denver so they can offer things to their classes that aren't in the budget. The A to Z Fund from the DPS Foundation offers grants of up to $3,000 so that teachers can put something together that's above and beyond for their kids. If you want to be part of $13 million in counting and good done across the state, scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. Feedback. Jake from Denver writes, as a Republican, I'm aware of my own biases, so I make an effort to consume a wide range of media. That said, Jake writes, I've always found Next to be one of the few that genuinely presents both sides of the story. Thank you for all you do. It's vital and does not go unnoticed. Jake, I appreciate the kind words. Here's the most important thing I hope everybody takes away. A balanced media diet from a wide variety of sources. Don't just watch this show. Watch and read a ton of things, and I will see you next time.